Good morning. Good morning. I'm so sorry. I definitely overslept. My alarm volume got turned down. I'm finding Genesis chapter 23 there. Hopefully, can y'all hear me? And that there's some of y'all left still in here. Uh, Let me see. Donna texts me. Thank you, Donna. Sorry, so sorry. Good morning, Avid. Good morning, Andy. Good morning, Donna. Good morning, Joey. And I think I seen Christy. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I think I got everybody. A lot in the text. I'm so sorry. I'm still here. Good morning. Good morning. I do have a little cup of coffee. Wow. I knew it was bound to happen one day. I'm so sorry. Today, January the 22nd, day 22 of our read through the Bible. We're going to be in Genesis chapter 23, Matthew chapter 22, Nehemiah chapter 12, and Acts chapter 22. I love you too, Donna, and I'm sorry. Anyhow, I know I hate to be late for anything. Christy sent you an email. I'll have to see that. I had turned the volume off. My alarm was going off, but it was just visual. And I just happened to open my eye and see it. So here we go. Genesis chapter 23, Sarah's death and burial. Sarah lived 127 years. These were the years of the life of Sarah. So Sarah died in Kirjath Arba, that is Hebron, in the land of Canaan, and Abraham came to mourn for Sarah and to weep for her. Then Abraham stood up from before his dead and spoke to the sons of Heth, saying, I am a foreigner and a visitor among you. Give me property for a burial place among you, that I may bury my dead out of my sight. Joey said, we are just glad you're here. Thank y'all. Thank y'all very much. And Andy, I see you agree. I'm glad I'm here too. Verse 5, and the sons of Heth answered Abraham, saying to him, Hear us, my Lord, you are a mighty prince among us. Bury your dead in the choicest of the burial places. None of us will withhold from you his burial place, that you may bury your dead. Then Abraham stood up and bowed himself to the people of the land, the sons of Heth, and he spoke with them, saying, If it is your wish that I bury my dead out of my sight, hear me and meet with Ephron, the son of Zorah, for me, that he may give me the cave of Machpelah, which he has, which is at the end of his field. Let him give it to me at the full price as property for a burial place among you. Now, Ephron dwelt among the sons of Heth, and Ephron the Hittite answered Abraham in the presence of the sons of Heth, all who entered the gate of his city, saying, No, my Lord, hear me. I give you the field and the cave that it is in. I give it to you in the presence of the sons of my people. I give it to you. Bury your dead. Then Abraham bowed himself down before the people of the land, and he spoke to Ephron in the hearing of the people of the land, saying, If you will give it, please hear me. I will give you money for the field. Take it from me, and I will bury my dead there. And Ephron answered Abraham, saying to him, My Lord, listen to me. The land is worth 400 shekels of silver. What is it that between you and me? What is that between you and me? So bury your dead. And Abraham listened to Ephron, and Abraham weighed out the silver for Ephron, which he had named in the hearing of the sons of Heth, 400 shekels of silver, currency of the merchants. So the field of Ephron, which was in Machpelah, which was before Mamre, the field and the cave which was in it, and all the trees that were in the field, which were within all the surrounding borders, were deeded to Abraham as a possession in the presence of the sons of Heth before all who went in at the gate of his city. And before this, Abraham buried Sarah, his wife, in the cave of the field of Machpelah, before Mamre, that is Hebron, in the land of Canaan. So the field and the cave that is in it were deeded to Abraham by the sons of Heth as property for a burial place. All right, that wraps up Genesis chapter 23. Let's jump to Matthew chapter 22. Matthew chapter 22, right there. The parable of the wedding feast. Verse 1, and Jesus answered and spoke to them again by parables and said, the kingdom of heaven is like a certain king who arranged a marriage for his son and sent out his servants to call those who were invited to the wedding, and they were not willing to come. And again he sent out other servants, saying, tell those who are invited, see, I have prepared my dinner, my oxen, my fatted cattle are killed, and all things are ready. Come to the wedding. But they made light of it and went their ways. One to his own farm, another to his business, and the rest seized his servants, treated them spitefully, and killed them. But when the king heard about it, he was furious, and he sent out his armies, destroyed those murderers, and burned up their city. Then he said to his servants, the wedding is ready, but those who were invited were not worthy. Therefore go into the highways, and as many as you find, invite to the wedding. So those servants went out into the highways and gathered together all whom they found, both bad and good, and the wedding hall was filled with guests. But when the king came in to see the guest, he saw a man there who did not have on a wedding garment. So he said to him, friend, how did you come in here without a wedding garment? And he was speechless. Then the king said to the servants, bind him hand and foot, and take him away, cast him into outer darkness. There will be weeping and gnashing of teeth, for many are called, but few are chosen. The Pharisees, it is lawful to pay taxes to Caesar. Is it lawful to pay taxes to Caesar is the heading. Verse 15. Then the Pharisees went and plotted how they might entangle him in his talk, and they sent to him their disciples with Herodians, saying, Teacher, we know that you are true and teach the way of God in truth, nor do you care about anyone. What? Wait, I read something wrong. Teacher, we know that you are true and teach the way of God in truth, nor do you care about anyone, for you do not regard the person of man. Tell us, therefore, what do you think? Is it lawful to pay taxes to Caesar or not? But Jesus perceived their wickedness and said, why do you test me, you hypocrites? Show me the tax money. So they brought him a denarius, and he said to them, whose image and inscription is this? They said to him, Caesar's. And he said to them, render therefore to Caesar's the things that are Caesar's, and to God the things that are God's. When they had heard these words, they marveled and left him and went their way. The Sadducees, what about the resurrection? And that is the heading, verse 23. The same day the Sadducees say there is no resurrection, come to him and ask him, saying, Teacher, Moses said that if a man dies having no children, his brother shall marry his wife and raise up offspring for his brother. Now there were with us 7 brothers. The first died after he had married, and having no offspring, left his wife to his brother. Likewise the second also, and the third, even to the 7th. Last of all, the woman died also. Therefore it was in the resurrection, whose wife of the 7 will she be? For they all had her. Jesus answered and said to them, You are mistaken, not knowing the Scripture nor the power of God. For in the resurrection they neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are like angels of God in heaven. But concerning the resurrection of the dead, have you not read what was spoken to you by God, saying, I am the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. God is not the God of the dead, but of the living. And when the multitudes heard this, they were astonished at his teaching. The scribes, which is the first commandment of all. Verse 34. Verse 34, but when the Pharisees heard that he had silenced the Sadducees, they gathered together. Then one of them, a lawyer, asked him a question, testing him, and saying, Teacher, which is the great commandment in the law? Jesus said to him, You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and great commandment, and the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these 2 commandments hang all the law of the prophets. Jesus, how can David call his descendant Lord? Verse 41. While the Pharisees were gathered together, Jesus asked them, saying, What do you think about the Christ? Whose son is he? They said to him, The son of David? He said to them, How then does David in the Spirit call him Lord, saying, The Lord said to my Lord, Sit at my right hand till I make your enemies your footstool. If David then calls him Lord, how is he his son? And no one was able to answer him a word, nor from that day or did anyone dare question him anymore. Now that wraps up Matthew. Let's go to Nehemiah chapter 12, back in the Old Testament. Between Ezra, and I went past it, between Ezra and Esther. Chapter 12. The priest and the Levites. Verse 1. Now these are the priests and the Levites who came up with Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel, and Jeshua, Sariah, Jeremiah, Ezra, Amariah, Malach, Hattush, Shechaniah, Rehum, Mermith, Adu, Genethio, Abijah, Majanan, Madiah, Belga, Shemaiah, Joreb, Jedediah, Shula, Amok, Hilkiah, and Jedediah. These are the heads of the priests and their brethren in the days of Joshua. Moreover, the Levites were Joshua ben Nun, Kadmiel, Sherebiah, Jedah, and Mattaniah, who led the thanksgiving psalms, he and his brethren. Also Bakbukkah and Uni, their brethren, stood across from them in their duties. Joshua beget Joachim, Joachim beget Eliashib, Eliashib beget Jehoiada, Jehoiada beget Jonathan, and Jonathan beget Jedah. Now in the days of Jehoiakim the priest, the heads of the fathers' houses were of Shirah, Murrah, and Jeremiah, Hananiah of Ezra, Meshullam of Amariah, Jehohanan of Melchah, Jonathan of Shebaniah, Joseph of Haram, Adnah of Mareth, Helkah of Idu, Zechariah of Ginnathan, Meshullam of Abijah, Zakshir, the son of Minjanin of Moadah, Piltah of Bilgah, Shammah of Shemaiah, Jehonathan of Joarib, Mathena of Jediah, Uzzah of Shelah, Kalah of Amok, Eber of Hilkiah, Heshabiah of Jedaiah, Nathaniel. During the reign of Darius the Persian, a record was also kept of the Levites and the priests who had been heads of their fathers' houses in the days of Eliashib, Joiada, Johanna, and Judah, the sons of Levites, the heads of the fathers' houses, until the days of Johanna, the son of Eliashib, were written in the book of the Chronicles, and the heads of the Levites were Hashabiah, Sherebiah, and Jeshua, the son of Kadmiel, and their brothers across from them to the praise and gave them thanks, group alternating with group, according to the command of David to the men of God, Matthiah, Bukbukkah, Obediah, Meshullam, Talmon, and Akab were gatekeepers, keeping the watch of the storerooms of the gates. These lived in the days of Joachim, the son of Jeshua, the son of Jozadak, and in the days of Nehemiah, the governor, and of Ezra, the priest, the scribe. Nehemiah dedicates the wall, verse 27. Now, at the dedication of the wall of Jerusalem, they sought out the Levites in all their places to bring them to Jerusalem to celebrate the dedication with gladness, both with thanksgiving and singing, with cymbals and stringed instruments and harps. And the sons of the singers gathered together from the countryside around Jerusalem, from the villages of the Nephilites, from the house of Gilgal, and from the fields of Geba, and Asmaveth, for the singers had built themselves villages all around Jerusalem. Then the priests and the Levites purified themselves and purified the people, the gates, and the wall. So I brought the leaders of Judah up on the wall and appointed 2 large thanksgiving choirs. One went to the right hand on the wall toward the refuge gate. After them went Hosea and half of the leaders of Judah, and Ezra, Meshullam, Judah, Benjamin, Shemaiah, Jeremiah, and some of the priests' sons with trumpets, Zechariah the son of Jonathan, the son of Shema, the son of Mathanan, and the son of Maacah, the son of Zachor, the son of Aspah, and his brethren, Shemaiah, Azriel, Malili, Gilah, Maya, Nathaniel, Judah, and Hananiah, with the musical instruments of David, the man of God. Ezra the scribe went before them by the fountain gate in front of them. They went up to the stairs of the city of David on the stairway of the wall beyond the house of David as far as the water gate eastward. The other thanksgiving choir went the opposite way. That's verse 38. The other thanksgiving choir went the opposite way, and I was behind them with half of the people on the wall, going past the tower of the ovens as far as the board gate, and above the gate of Ephraim, above the old gate, above the fish gate, the tower of Hananel, the tower of the 100, as far as the sheep gate, and they stopped by the gate of the prism. So the two thanksgiving choirs stood in the house of God. Likewise, I and the half of the rulers with me, and the priest, Eliakim, Meshu, Benjamin, Mishiah, Elonai, Zechariah, and Hananiah, with trumpets, also Mishiah, Shemaiah, Eleazar, Uzzah, Jehohanan, Micaiah, Elam, and Ezer. The singers sang loudly with Jezreiah, the director. Also that day they offered great sacrifices and rejoiced, for God had made them rejoice with great joy. The women and the children also rejoiced, so that the joy of Jerusalem was heard afar off. Temple responsibilities. Verse 44. And at the same time, some were appointed over the rooms of the storehouse for the offerings, for the first fruits, and for the tithes, to gather into them from the fields of the cities that the portions specified by the law for the priests and Levites. For Judah, rejoice over the priests and Levites who ministered. Both the singers and the gatekeepers kept the charge of their God and the charge of the purification, according to the command of David and Solomon his son. For in the days of David, Asaph of old, there were chiefs of the singers and songs of praise and thanksgiving to God. In the days of Zerubbabel and in the days of Nehemiah, all Israel gave the portions for the singers and the gatekeepers, a portion for each day. They also consecrated holy things for the Levites, and the Levites consecrated them for the children of Aaron. Now, Acts chapter 22, our next book. Next chapter. Acts chapter 22, verse 1. Brethren and fathers, hear my defense before you now. And when they heard that he spoke to them in the Hebrew language, they kept all the more silent. Then he said, I am indeed a Jew, born in Tarsus of Sicily, but brought up in this city at the feet of Gamaliel, taught according to the strictness of our fathers' law, and was zealous toward God as you all are today. I'm persecuted this way to the death, binding and delivering into prisons both men and women, as also the high priest bears me witness, and all the council of the elders, from whom I also received letters to the brethren, and went to Damascus to bring in chains even those who were there in Jerusalem to be punished. Now it happened as I journeyed and came near Damascus, at about noon, suddenly a great light from heaven shone around me, and I fell to the ground and heard a voice saying to me, Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me? So I answered, Who are you, Lord? And he said to me, I am Jesus of Nazareth, whom you are persecuting. And those who were with me indeed saw the light and were afraid, but they did not hear the voice of him who spoke to me. So I said, What shall I do, Lord? And the Lord said to me, Arise and go into Damascus. There you will be told all things which are appointed for you to do. And since I could not see for the glory of that light, being led by the hand of those who were with me, I came into Damascus. Then a certain Ananias, a devout man, according to the law, having a good testimony with all the Jews who dwelt there, came to me, and he stood and said to me, Brother Saul, receive your sight. And at the same hour I looked up at him. Then he said, The God of our fathers has chosen you that you should know his will and see the just one and hear the voice of his mouth. For you will be his witness to all men of what you have seen and heard. And now, why are you waiting? Arise and be baptized and wash away your sins, calling on the name of the Lord. Now it happened when I returned to Jerusalem and was praying in the temple that I was in a trance and saw him saying to me, Make haste and get out of Jerusalem quickly, for they will not receive your testimony concerning me. Verse 19. So I said, Lord, they know that in every synagogue I imprison and beat those who believe on you. And when the blood of your martyr Stephen was shed, I also was standing by, consenting to his death and guarding the clothes of those who were killing him. Then he said to me, Depart, for I will send you far from here to the Gentiles. Paul's Roman citizenship. Verse 22. And they listened to him until the word, and then they raised their voices and said, Away with such a fellow from the earth, for he is not fit to live. Then as they cried out and tore off their clothes and threw dust into the air, the commander ordered him to be brought into the barracks, and he said that he should be examined under scourging, so that he might know why they shouted so against him. And as they bound him with thongs, Paul said to a centurion who stood by, Is it lawful for you to scourge a man who is a Roman and uncondemned? When the centurion heard that, he went and told the commander, saying, Take care what you do, for this man is a Roman. Then the commander came and said to him, Tell me, are you a Roman? And he said, Yes. The commander answered, With a large sum I obtained the citizenship. And Paul said, But I was born a citizen. Then immediately those who were about to examine him withdrew from him, and the commander was also afraid after he found out that he was a Roman, and because he had bound him. The Sanhedrin divided. The next day, because he wanted to know for certain why he was accused by the Jews, he released him from his bonds and commanded the chief priest and all their council to appear, and brought Paul down and set him before them. Now that wraps up Acts 22. Let's jump into Ephesians and get our armor on, y'all. Verse 10. Ephesians chapter 6. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in heavenly places. Therefore take up the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, And having done all to stand, stand therefore, having girded your waist with truth, having put on the breastplate of righteousness, and having shod your feet with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Excuse me. Above all, taking the shield of faith with which you will be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked one, and take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, being watchful to this end with all perseverance and supplication for all the saints. And for me, that utterance may be given to me, that I may open my mouth boldly to make known the mystery of the gospel, for which I am an ambassador in chains, that in it I may speak boldly as I ought to speak. All right, y'all, that wraps it up for today. Much later than intended. Let's look at tomorrow's readings right quick. Let's see. We will be day 23. Day 23 is Genesis chapter 24, Matthew 23, Nehemiah 13, and Acts 23. Thank y'all. I'm sorry again for being late. I appreciate y'all being with me. And I love you guys. God bless y'all. I challenge y'all to go be a blessing for someone else today. And I'll see you again in the morning. Until then.